Hello and welcome to the Empress podcast. I am your host, Jessica, known in the online space as Jess the Empress. I started this podcast to help you be present with yourself, cope with chaos, and simplify your life. I do this by combining psychology, behavioral science, and the tarot. I have a background in mental health, specifically a master's in clinical social work from USC, and I'm a professional tarot reader. So get ready to have a nurturing, creative, and empowering experience with me as we use practical magic. Hi, babes. Welcome back. I am so grateful to be here with you. And I want to ask a quick favor from you first before we get into the episode. Please give my podcast a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts because it means a lot to me. It really does. I love knowing who's listening. I love knowing what you're getting out of each episode. And that's it. That's all I'm asking. Okay. So the topic of today, this actually came about through several different client sessions. And I know for a fact that if my clients are having these questions or these topics are coming up, then you guys do as well. And so I'm going to bring it here to the podcast, and talk about it. So what we're focusing on today is understanding the difference between knowing, is it time to give up or is it time to push through? And that can be a really tricky place. I've been there so many times. So I'm going to give you insights, tips, and tricks, all the things I give you, every episode of navigating this space. So when we're taking a step back, this is an act of self-care, evaluating what we have going on and our feelings and our mindset and our action steps. That is such a high level of, honestly, just self-love, because I don't want to see you guys out here, fumbling the ball kind of thing time and again when we have this choice of saying, wait a minute, let me pause and let me see what's going on. And the other thing too is going and pushing ourselves and forcing ourselves to do things that's really harmful. It's harmful for our well-being on all aspects. And again, I don't want that for you. I want you feeling capable and I want you feeling confident. So it's so much better for you to take a break and evaluate things than to put yourself in harm's way. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're evaluating, we're shifting our mindset, and we're getting a clear understanding of what's needed, no matter what the choice is for you as the individual. And I fully understand that you deciding to slow down might upset some people around you. And I want to take that as an opportunity to gently remind you that it's not selfish to pause and to identify what you need. It's totally okay to do that. I'm going to encourage that always, that you slow down and that you create a little bit of time to know what's important for you, how you're truly feeling, and what you really desire and want out of your life, right? Not even just today, but your life. So let's kick it off with, these are the signs to give up, okay? You've tried a variety of approaches and strategies, and none of them have led to a positive outcome or any type of progress. Oh God, I've been there. I have so many times. And you go back to the drawing board and you're like, if I try this, I do this, I do that. And then it's just not working. It's just not working. Yeah, it's time to give it up. You feel burned out and exhausted, and your efforts to keep going feel like a huge struggle, massive struggle, rather than a source of motivation. And I know we're not always going to feel motivated. So this also means you've included a disciplined approach. Okay. You have pushed through already, but you're feeling burned out and exhausted. And then an emotion that's really important to pay attention to is feeling resentment. Resentment is definitely an emotion that will tell you it's time to give it up, to quit, because you're only hurting yourself at this point, probably in more ways than one, not just emotionally, okay? So The other thing is you've changed. I see this so much with clients. This is actually this is like the number one thing, honestly, for clients when I'm like, yeah, it's time to quit. You've changed. You haven't really like done a self-evaluation in a minute, and you're kind of like going at things the way that you have before you changed. You're just in a cycle, right? Like you're in a like habits, and the goal or the task that you're pursuing, whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't actually align with you anymore because you've changed, and most likely for the better, if we're working together. So it just doesn't align with whatever you're interested in now, your new core values, your new identity that you've created for yourself. This is definitely a time to let go and to move on to something else, because we want to be focusing on things that match who we are at our core. Another sign it's time to give up is that you find yourself consistently justifying or rationalizing why you should continue with a particular pursuit, even though deep down you feel like it's not worth it. Okay, so there's a clear emotion here where you're like, oh my God, this just is like not it. I hate this. This literally is doing nothing for me. I'm getting nothing out of this anymore. But you keep basically making excuses for why you should be in it. And should is a key word here. There's some judgment, maybe based on what you think other people want you to do or what you've been expected to do in the past, based again on an old version of yourself. And then the last sign is when the negatives outweigh the positive and the effort that you're putting in is detrimental for your well-being. This is another thing that I see. I see this mostly in relationships with clients where they stay because they feel like, oh, okay, well, if I just keep going, then things will turn around eventually. And there are definitely tough times in relationships. It's a whole different thing. And we definitely want to push through those. But I'm not talking about that. I'm specifically stating that when the negatives outweigh the positives. So, it's like a 5-to-1 ratio of negative versus positive. So there's like 5 negative experiences and 1 positive experiences, and your mental health is on the decline. Not the vibe. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with giving up. Like literally, there's nothing wrong with it. Trust me, there's plenty of things in my life that I've stopped. I've stopped trying to make them happen. I've stopped forcing, I've stopped the planning, all the things. And when I stopped, I received the benefits. And those benefits were being more available to be present in my life and to find enjoyment in what was already existing and what was already going well. I couldn't see that because I was trying to make something happen. I was holding on to something that really wasn't meant to be for me. And I was way more open to receive the next thing that really was for me. I created some space in my life, and oh man, that's such a beautiful thing. And I hope that might be, some encouraging words for you if you're really realizing like, oh man, yeah, it's time for me to quit this thing. And this applies to like literally every area of your life. So work, financial investments, or just the way you're spending your money in general, relationships, hobbies, your own self-care plan. They're just things that we are doing that we don't need to be doing coping wise. And it's time for a shift, right? So maybe you're still feeling a little shaky about giving up because you have some unhelpful beliefs connected to quote, giving up, end quote, right? You're making it mean something about you. So honey, it's time for a mindset shift. Let's get into it. Giving up doesn't define you. It literally has never defined you. People may have defined it for you, and you may have internalized their definition of what giving up means because they're using that belief system for themselves in the way that they see other people in the world. But we're not that. We're different, right? It does not have to define you. It does not mean that you are weak or that you're a failure. Again, that is a definition that society gives us, and it's designed to keep us stuck. It's such a low I don't even like way to see what giving up is. I mean, God, I don't know. It doesn't resonate with me. And I really genuinely hope that you can unpack that and understand like it has nothing to do with your identity. It literally doesn't. So the mindset shift here too is like it takes so much strength to walk away for something that isn't for you. So much strength. It really does. You know, we can use synonyms here: courage, bravery, but it's easier sometimes, and not like better for you or easier as in it's the right choice, the path of least resistance kind of thing, but it means like you don't have to do the work that it takes to move away from something or to walk away from something and put it down that's not for you. It's hard. You know, we make investments in the things that we go for, and we might have to process some shame or some guilt, or again, that feeling like, oh my God, this failure is defining me. We might have to go through that in order to let it go, but that's where the strength comes in. That's a very brave thing to do, okay? But you can do it, I promise. It's your choice to see it's your choice how you see, giving up. Like, that's absolutely on you. I can't make you adapt what I'm sharing, but I can offer it to you, and it's something that you can contemplate and see how it maybe fits for you and how your life might transform if you decided to double down on that belief. What do you want to decide, right? What if you decided now to reframe it as you're prioritizing other things? Okay, that thing that you're quitting, it's just not a priority anymore. You're deprioritizing it on your list of all the lovely things that you have available for you that you really want to pursue and you want to put your energy into. You can choose to see it as a loss, as a lesson learned, okay, the thing you're quitting, or, this is my favorite, an experience. It's an experience. It's something you did, something you went through, and that's it. Like, it's so simple if we decide we choose like that narrative, right? And we don't make a bigger story than we have to about it. My clients really love landing on that it was an experience. They don't make it mean anything about them. I encourage you to do that. You can choose to see it as a sign of failure or as a sign of strength and your resilience. Again, like I said, it's on you. This is a mindset shift. So what do you want to step into? And even if you did fail, I failed at so many things in my life, like so many things, but it takes true guts to admit that you failed. Okay. In today's climate where everyone is trying to be perfect and no one can, I don't know what's going on, you guys, but like no one can admit their faults. Everyone has to be, I don't know, whatever. You get to decide that failure does not define you. It was just an experience. It was just something you did, you tried, and moved on, you know? You gave it your best. And that's good. I love that. You're in control of your mindset. Like, why not choose an empowering way to think about yourself, right? Like, why not pick that one? Quitting doesn't mean that you're giving up on yourself completely and totally either. Like I said, it just means you're focusing on other things that are better for you. And we love that. So let's shift gears into evaluating pushing through the tough times. Now we know, okay, you're looking at life and you're like, yeah, those are things I definitely want to quit. Quitting, it is what it is. I got other things I want to do. There might be some things where you're like, oh man, I'm like not sure if it's time to let this go or if I need to continue, right? And God, the amount of times I find myself there. I find myself there more often than completely letting something go. And I'll get into this. I think most people are actually here at pushing through a tough time. It's really corny, but I actually do go back to this quote: when times get tough, the tough get going. I hate it too. Like, we can totally eye roll. I'm with you, but honestly, it does help me. So if it helps you, cool. If not, you can just like not, listen to it or like say it to yourself. But okay. So The reason I'm saying it though, and the reason that I say it to myself is it just like reinforces that I'm capable. It's saying like, yeah, I am a tough person. I have so much grit. I have so much resilience and so much determination that why would I let whatever I'm going through right now, like, I don't know, stop me or make me feel defeated. That's just not me in a lot of cases, and a lot of things that I face in my life. So it's, like I said, it's applicable for so many of my clients too, because when I chat with them, they feel defeated like 30% of the way through their process of manifesting or achieving their goals, and they quit before they really even started. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and when we go into the reasons for sticking with it, you will see where you might have some gaps in your safety net, and then this will help you reinforce your safety net so that you can keep going. Okay? Because this honestly is the path to success, and you're gonna love it. Okay? So just honestly imagine you stopped because you're uncomfortable. Like, what? Come on. No. Imagine you feel the immediate relief of quitting. Okay? You're like, I'm tired, I'm whatever, I'm gonna stop. Okay, cool. And you feel this immediate relief, and you're like, oh, the world has opened up for me, I'm feeling so good, blah, blah, blah. But then fast forward 6 months, and you look back and you feel regret. Ugh, and you feel panic because you didn't keep going. Perspective is a game changer, right, you guys? And I say this, and maybe you're feeling a little bit like, oh my God, like you're holding your breath, maybe you're feeling a little like, FOMO or whatever. But honestly, fear is a motivator. And I don't say this to like make you feel afraid or like push you into a freak out. I say this realistically because I see so many clients here, and we process those feelings. And if we can look ahead and sort of predict that might be a scenario for you that you don't have to walk through now based on our prediction, this will shift you into keeping the action steps that you need to in order to get what you want, in order to manifest or complete that goal. I want you to ask yourself, why do you want to quit? This is a game changer too. Why do you even want to quit? Right? And then let me tell you what my clients say most of the time they have a feeling. A feeling is making them want to quit. We have to remember that feelings are not facts. Feelings are just information. Our feelings around a situation do not mean that we need to quit. Okay? You might be feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, anxious, fearful, bored with everything going on. But guess what? It's totally healthy to feel that way. Did you know that? It's like fine. It's totally fine. You're experiencing stress, and stress moves in us in many different ways, right? But that doesn't mean that we need to give up. We can have our stress and we can keep going. Yay! So these emotions that you feel around your action steps, around your goal and manifestation process, it's information. It's information for your self-care plan about what you need to incorporate into your life right now. Getting what you want is your responsibility, okay? Before you decide to give up, here are some signs to stick with it. You believe the potential benefits of achieving your goal and getting that manifestation. You believe that outweighs whatever challenges and difficulties you're facing. And this is why the belief in what you want, the belief in what is possible, the belief in what you are capable of is so important. I meant my clients and I do a lot of reinforcing the foundational mindset of what you're capable of. Your belief has to be so high because you're doing above average things. So you need to have an above average mindset, and you need to have an above average way that you take care of yourself. Okay? Therefore, you cannot be looking at things as if you can't do it. Like, those two things don't match. So another sign to stick with it. You've already invested a significant amount of time and effort and resources into your plan. And, sometimes it's just worthwhile to persevere and to see it through to the end, especially if you're seeing small rewards and your hard work is paying off. That's what I mean by the 30%. Like 30% of the way through the process of or manifesting your goal, this is where people freak out because it's hard. Okay. But it doesn't have to be as hard if we switch our mindset and if we understand, oh, okay, I'm only 30% through. That means I've got more to do, but I need to take care of myself maybe differently at this point than I did at the beginning. I almost laugh at myself because I've had this happen to me so many times. We're going to have those moments where we're just up against a wall and it's a choice point of do I keep going or not? What do I do? But you've invested time, you've invested effort, you've maybe even put some money into this, right? I'm going to give you an example, but at first, before I give my example of how this pays off and why perseverance is necessary, I want to clear something up. A lot of people will hear this, the investing the time and resources, and then they will attach this to a relationship that is toxic. And I want to tell you, this is not the same thing as staying in a toxic relationship and getting breadcrumbs. Honey, getting the bare minimum and being I'm going to see this through to the end is not the vibe. Absolutely not. I will use my business as an example. So it takes time to build a really strong rating system across several different platforms that I happen to be on. So when I started, I put in hours and hours and hours and hours of time. I did things at a lower cost so that I could get more clients, and I kept at it. There's the perseverance, the discipline. I have a 5-star rating across multiple platforms, and what I mean by a strong 5-star rating is that when I had a negative review come in, it didn't really impact the 5 stars. So you have to have a really strong amount of 5-star reviews in order for that not to be shifted. But you have to remember that not every client rated me. So there were times where I would just read, and I would have nothing. So I was putting in effort, but I wasn't getting anything back, the rating. And it was tough, but I have it now, and I worked really hard for it, and I continue to work for it to maintain it. That's just one of those examples. You have a strong support system in place, including friends and family and mentors that can offer you advice. So you need to go to them. You need to be using your support network. So if you've been isolating and you're just kind of in your own head and you haven't bounced any of your ideas off to those people yet, it's probably not time to give up. You just need to hear a different perspective. You need encouragement, honey. You need advice. You need to have your cup poured into by other people, so that way you can stay committed and motivated when, times are really hard. And this is where I come in a lot for my clients as their accountability coach, because not everybody has people around them that believe in them, or they've moved and they just don't have that core friend group yet. And, I kind of step in the interim or as a long-term support for people. So then another reason to stick with it, to push through, is that you have a clear understanding of the obstacles and the challenges that you're facing along the way. And you've developed, the strategies that you need to overcome them. This is when you're going to be the most equipped to persevere and continue with a plan when it's really crappy and you're feeling all the feels. You have to be accepting of the learning curves. Okay, so this is something that you have to reinforce along the way. This is why it's so important to research, to roadmap your goals, to self-reflect on your personal strengths and weaknesses. When you're doing all of this, you're set up for success. It might have been a while since you've actually looked at your goals. You have an idea of what you're going to do because you wrote it down 2 weeks ago, but you haven't actually gone back to your roadmap. You haven't gone back to your SMART goals, and you haven't looked at what you said you were going to do. You just keep thinking about it, but you're not holding yourself to the higher level of accountability. And the clear understanding is really important. Having a expectation of 10-year results with a 1 year's worth of effort is not helpful. a clear understanding. You understand how business works. You understand economy. You understand what's literally happening around you. This will set you up for success. So maybe you need to just get some information. Maybe you need to go back and visit, again, like I said, your SMART goals or your roadmap. And that can be really refreshing because then you're like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do step 5, but I'm actually on step 2. Like, oh wow, I feel so much better, And then lastly, to persevere, you're willing to be patient. You got to push through. You got to push through those times where you expect things to happen right away, and they're just not. You have to look for the small and consistent successes. Those are going to be like the things that you honestly cherish the most and that light you up. Oh man, it's a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing when you can see that happen. But yeah, that's when you need to be consistent. You're seeing small things and you're taking those small things for granted. I do a lot of that lovely checking my clients and being like, y'all, yeah, but you have seen success. You keep looking and expecting something that is, again, it's not possible. It's just not happening now because there's more time and energy you need to put into your plan before you get that result. And then there might be some comparison and all that stuff. And we don't want that, we want to stay present. So now I'm going to shift into some mindset shifts for the persistence as well. And before I do that, I wanted to say, if you don't have these things in your life and you want them, put the goals that you have on hold for a little bit or just change the pace that you're approaching your goals and manifestations. And actively create these mental, emotional, material, and spiritual safety nets for yourself. You deserve them. It is an act of self-love to have these things in place. It is not too late to start. I promise. I promise you. And you're not going to mess up what's meant for you. So if you have to change your approach to things, so be it. Like, you're going to get what you want because of it. So like, how great is that? Sticking to your plans is next level shit. It is, I swear, because most people don't. Most people fold. Most people flop. Most people give up. Most people make a story about a failure that they experienced along the way. And then they just don't even try anymore. And I know you guys are better than that. I really do. So the mindset shift, these are the things that you need to be telling yourself, and these are the approaches that you need to concrete in your reality, in your mental construct. You will accomplish your goal, no matter the timeline. Okay? So I know there can be this sigh and this feeling deflated when you have to shift gears a little bit, but it's so necessary. And the reality is, on your path to anything, it's going to happen. Whether it's happening now that you need to shift gears because of what I'm telling you, and you're like, oh, having these awarenesses, or something just pops up and life happens. It's like, do you want to do that as quickly as possible, or do you want to be dragging your feet? I feel like you want to be doing it as quickly as possible. And why not practice it now so that way you can pivot even better and more efficiently later on, right? Negative thoughts do not need to occupy your attention. Notice them because they're going to come up. They come up for me. They come up for every client. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to my CEO girlies, if I'm talking to my mama bears, it doesn't matter. Like, negative thoughts happen for every single person. But what we need to do is not attach ourselves to them. We need to notice them and then we let them go. Thoughts are like clouds. They're just passing through. And then we're like, oh yeah, that's an interesting thought. Okay. Yeah, I can't do it. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I think I can. Right? So we're noticing the negative thought, and then we're saying something else, something more true, something more real, something more attached to our real identity. And then that thought is already passing through our mind. You have what it takes, even if you can't see it now, because you're cultivating something, you're developing something, you're planting little seeds that are going to grow. And I love this. The farmer isn't like, oh yeah, I don't have any fruit. Never gonna have any fruit. No, he's like, yeah, I'm planting these seeds. I'm gonna have some fruit. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna love it. You have what it takes. Like, you have whatever you need, you can find it. This is up to time to dig deep and to tap into your power. It takes strength. It takes strength to dig deep, but you can do it. You can do it. Practice gratitude for what you already have, okay? This will make sticking with it so much easier when you're looking at what's working well. And it does not matter how big or small the thing is. And it doesn't matter if you can write a list of 5 things or a full page. What matters is that you actively practice gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to even try. Gratitude for the space to even go for it. If that's a base gratitude that you need to come back to time and again, please do so. It's so powerful. You need to take action like you know for a fact that what you want is possible. You have what it takes and it's already happening. I do this a lot. And one of the things that my partner commented on recently was like, I love that you have set your life up as if you already have 1 million listeners on your podcast. I love that you've set your life up as if you already have the max level of clients that you can possibly hold in your day-to-day life. You act like it. You approach what you do at a professional level because you believe that that is what is going to happen for you. And hearing that back was really, really refreshing. Like when your head is in it all the time. Of course I have my doubts, but I don't let them occupy too much of my mindset. Of course I have my moments of being like, oh man, I want to see that number. I want to see that download hit 1 million. I want to see all the things. And that's fine. Like I tell myself like, of course I want that. That's why I'm doing this, because I want what I want. I have this desire, right? And then I take action and I bring you guys these really powerful, informative podcasts because there's 1 million people out there who want to hear this. It's not just you, right? There's millions of people in the world that will benefit from what I have to say. And if I approach this like, oh my God, I have more than 5 listeners, but I'll use 5 as an example. Like, oh my God, I only have 5 listeners. Like, that's so pathetic. Ugh, God, no one wants to listen to this. I never get what I want. No one's downloading it. I haven't had a new subscriber in 5 months or whatever. I don't know, 5 is the number today. But if that was my mindset, if that was my thoughts, you guys, like I would not be here. Like I wouldn't be consistent. I wouldn't be high vibe. I wouldn't be informative. I wouldn't be bringing the energy that I bring. You guys wouldn't be getting this version of me. And I don't know, you guys deserve the best. I deserve the best. And so I think because I know that about myself, and I know that how I pour into myself is so important because that's what you receive energetically from me. I need to believe that what I want is possible, and I act like it's already happening because that's the vibe. I don't know how else to explain it, but like that's just it, right? I just don't give myself another option. I just choose not to entertain any other reality. Okay, and then we're getting into this other mindset shift, which is so important. Some of you guys might giggle, and I honestly hope you do, and I want to work with you guys on this if you kind of eye roll, but realistic goals plus a delusional belief in yourself is so freaking magnetic. It does not hurt. It does not hurt you to say kind and empowering things to yourself. But like so many people will not do this because they think there's something wrong with having an incredibly delusional belief in yourself. You will grow through this because that's what you decide, and there's no other choice for you. So whatever you're experiencing right now, you're not throwing in the towel, but you really have to dig deep and understand what it's going to take for you to get to the next level, where you need to make some sacrifices or compromises, where you need to shift things around. Like that takes a lot of strength. But you decide that you're going to grow through this. There's, again, no other mindset that you entertain other than you've got this. Like you literally have what it takes to make the decisions, to see the thing through, to shift your life around, to make drastic, radical action. Like you have it within you, and you don't believe anything else. Believe in yourself like Kanye believes in himself. Like I say this to me in my head, and I think, what in the hell would we all accomplish if we believed in ourselves like Kanye believes in himself? There's a lot of other things that Kanye has going on, but let's just talk about the delusional belief in the self. We all would benefit from that, I think, because so many of my clients come from a place of that is not a very strong foundation in their mental framework, their belief in their self. They often beat themselves up, and they've lived life internalizing that they're not good enough. They've lived life internalizing like they're helpless and they're powerless and they're incompetent. They've lived feeling like they are a horrible person and that they're worthless and that, they just aren't going to get what they want. And so that's why it's so important to believe in yourself, like the opposite, like I don't want you out here believing like you can't do things. But when you have that belief and you also add on realistic goals, you are so powerful because you understand what it takes and you understand the limitations of the world around you, the social, political, environmental climate around you, whatever it is. You're willing to work with limitations instead of feeling like the limitations are against you and there's just nothing you can do about it, right? So important. So you can either stay present or you can decide to be overwhelmed by looking too far ahead. You need to have laser-like focus. Like, this is where discipline comes in. And I know a lot of people really struggle with this, and that's okay. We all do. No one is born disciplined. It's something that you cultivate. But you need to decide how you want to spend your time, okay? Use your time wisely each day, and you will be amazed at what you accomplish. You really will be. I understand that there are so many things that we're responsible for. We have partners, we have children, we have work responsibilities, and you're like, how the hell am I going to make my side hustle, my goal of a side business? How am I even going to make that a thing? Or my fitness goals or whatever. What are the hours you have in the day to do something? Because something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. There's a guy, I don't even remember his name, but he has written 17 books or something like that. And on days when he had very little time, he's like, well, I have a little time. Isn't that sweet? I have a little time. Got a little time to write. I'm gonna put down some sentences. It's a choice. How do you want to see this? How do you want to approach this? You have to have a growth mindset. You have to have an open perspective of everything in your life, and you will benefit and you will reach your goals. I promise. So that's the mindset shift. You need to step into these things that I've listed in order to really to keep the momentum going, even when it's hard. That's a wrap. That's it. So I really hope that you are feeling better informed, right, about whether it is time to quit for you, or if it's time to keep going and persevere. So knowing what you're experiencing, having a good idea of that can really help. It can help you feel better. It can help you take action. And I want you to do what's right for you. I want you to make informed decisions. I believe in that. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My number is 1-909-619-2831. You can book your one-to-one session with me, tarot reading, candle spells, umancy, egg cleanses. I do it all. And like I mentioned at the top of the podcast, leaving a 5-star review, it means so much to me, and I'm really looking forward to reading them soon. I love you. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.